On this episode of Limited Release, the guys head to St. Louis and find a thriving craft beer scene in the shadows of a giant.
Limited Release.
Hey Rob, what's on tap for today?
Well, Ron, we're here this week in St. Louis, Missouri at the brewery of Anheuser-Busch, where we're going to film Budweiser, which is the biggest brand name in beer in the Western world, and they do about 400 million cases of beer every year.
Well, impressive. I'm not sure that qualifies as a limited release.
Well, maybe not.
Guys, what are you doing here?
Budweiser.
This is St. Louis. There's craft beer here.
There it is.
Oh yeah, we should probably check that out.
I wanted to film the horses.
Cold of flavor! Long dominated by Budweiser, the craft beer scene has exploded and turned St. Louis into a hotbed of craft breweries. Four Hands was founded in late 2011 by Kevin Lemp and brewmaster Will Johnston. Will had previously spent 5 years at the legendary Goose Island Brewing Company in Chicago, where he honed his craft.
So cheers, guys.
Cheers, man.
Welcome to Four Hands Brewing.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I really like the layout of the place, and the space inside here is really comfortable. The tasting room, they got the cool old warehouse vibe going on, the industrial thing.
And I love the way they've incorporated the brewery into the tasting room. It's separated by glass, which is, for a place like St. Louis, where it's going to get really hot in the summer, makes a ton of sense. That you still feel like you're really part of the brewing process.
My first glass was a passion fruit Prussian, which was a Berliner Weiss with passion fruit. It was really an amazing beer, actually. I'm really impressed with that one. It's in a place like St. Louis, it's hot and muggy all summer long. The crisp, light, sour, it was really fantastic, and it almost made me wish that it was 100 degrees out right now.
You're wrong.
No, that was really good. What are you going with?
I started off with the chocolate milk stout because anything that says chocolate milk in it, I order. But no, it actually works out pretty good. It's in kind of the 5% ABV range. It's got a little char to it, which is very nice. It's a sessionable, a lovely sessionable stout, and it doesn't overheat. Like a 12 or 13% stout would.
And you?
I went hoppy on this one. I went Divided Sky Rye IPA, which is nice and hoppy. It's got a little zestiness from the rye in it. It's very tasty and refreshing. I think that's something we're seeing in all their beers right now.
Yeah, no. Well, I suppose it's that time of year, right? Yeah. Well, cheers, and my hat's off to Four Hands.
People think of us as kind of the hop-forward brewery. We do a lot of hoppy beers. We really like doing hoppy beers, and I think we do a lot of hoppy beers well. But we do everything from barrel-aged saisons, sours. We do Brett beers. We do lacto beers. We do hoppy beers, saisons, everything. So it's the whole gamut of beers. We do it all. It's a totally different industry. I don't think we're stealing any of their customers. We aren't worried about them stealing our customers. We're doing two totally different things. If anything, they've been pretty supportive so far, so there isn't really any animosity there between us either. I think if there's one beer that I would probably really want to show them, it'd be Cuvée Ange, which is, I don't know if you guys got to try it, but Cuvée Ange is our barrel-aged amber saison. It's aged in red wine barrels with raspberries and blackberries, Brettanomyces bruxellensis. So it's kind of a very funky, bright, vibrant saison, farmhouse style. You get a lot of fruit, you get a lot of tartness that comes through, you get a lot of that tannin quality from the barrel. So I think it's definitely a showcase of what we can do and what we have done so far.
And we finished off the day with an amazing meal. The charcuterie plate was awesome.
This is a fodor. Fodors are large wooden vessels used specifically for fermenting Belgian-style sour ales. Because they're made of wood, fodors cannot be sterilized like stainless steel. Therefore, they can only be used for these funky wild yeast fermentations. The upside is that the wood creates a great environment to host all those wild sour yeasts, and the large size makes blending much easier than in smaller barrels. This is a Hodor. A Hodor is a half giant from George Martin's book series A Song of Ice and Fire. A Hodor should not be confused with a Fodor. Hodors are not used in the brewing process at all.
Perennial Artisan Ales was founded in 2011 by Phil and Emily Wymore. Phil is another alumni of Goose Island, where he managed their cellar program and their barrel-aged projects. Joining the duo is head brewer Corey King, who also runs the side project brewery on the side at Perennial. Based in South St. Louis, Perennial has cultivated a loyal following due to its strong portfolio of beers and rotating special brews.
I think that we're a Belgian brewery. We're really classical in that sense, but we're also really modern. We're funky. We get a lot of fun people in here, but we also get a lot of laid-back people. We get beer people in here. We get all ages, all spectrums. That's the thing about St. Louis. That's how St. Louis works in general. I mean, we're not a town that just lets the young people come in and have great beer. We're not a town that just aids to the elderly crowd or aids to people that have been in the beer world forever. We're welcoming to everybody. So Perennial is a laid-back, classical, modern family bunch. We're just a big old family, and we love all of our customers. So.
Barrel-aged Abraxas is a variant of Perennial's popular Abraxas beer, an imperial stout with cocoa nibs, ancho chilies, vanilla beans, and cinnamon sticks. It is one of the most sought-after beers in the U.S. with only 1,000 to 1,500 bottles produced each year. In a surprise move to reward those hardy, loyal locals, Perennial put the first keg of barrel-aged Abraxas on tap Thursday night, unannounced. Those people that happened to be in that night for a pint got a special treat, without the crowd of tourists coming the next day. And you know what? Corey decided to release Saison du Fermier from Side Project then as well. Quite a night.
The excitement and the feeling in the air has been around since 2 weeks ago. When we did Sign Up Day, which was 2 weeks ago, it was incredible. The vibe, the fun is just rocking. Everybody's really happy to be a part of it.
Friday started off with the brewery staff and volunteers waxing all the bottles of barrel-aged Abraxas. We even pitched in to help wax the bottles getting ready for that evening's release. After waxing 200 or so bottles, we got a bit hungry and headed to the world-famous Bogart's, and inconceivably ran into actor Wallace Shawn.
Inconceivable!
After surviving a meat coma at Bogart's, it was back to Perennial for the Friday night release party. We won't talk about the Fight Club.
Like their Thursday night releases are always really fun, and I like IPAs. Some of their numbered IPA series is always really interesting. They get some, being that they have such a small facility in comparison to working at Schlafly, they've got a lot of freedom and a lot of experience here. I mean, they really know how to make good beer. I brewed for Schlafly for 2 years, and now I work in quality control and quality assurance for Schlafly. So I approve.
It's comes with the territory. In any situation where demand exceeds supply by by a long shot. I mean, it's we feel so fortunate to be in that position with that beer, but it also has to be something that you have to manage. What we're managing there is expectation, right? We're trying to piss off as few people as we can and make as many people as happy as we can.
All right, guys, this is it. It's day 3 of the long release that is Perennial barrel-aged Abraxas.
Yeah, we're starting to get a third day of excitement outside as people are lining up. It's not the insanity that you see at mega releases. It's much more controlled chaos here. And people getting excited, hopefully, for the... Is it public knowledge, the release this morning of the side project?
Yeah, it's semi-public knowledge.
A poorly kept secret?
Yes, exactly. The same thing as the last couple days. I mean, this may be kind of a 2-hour gig, and then they're going to kick off the kegs, and
then it'll just be another day.
And then it's just another day at the
which isn't a bad thing.
Yeah. Not a
then
bad
you just
thing.
have to drink the awesome regular beer.
Yeah, exactly. So, of the ones you've had, what have you liked from their regular?
Pretty much everything. I like the Saison a lot. We had the Plan B yesterday. That was wonderful Belgian with, I think, currants, which was unusual. So I like that a lot.
I mean, it's exploded in the last 5 in particular, I'd say in the last year or so. I mean, we've doubled and then doubled in 5 years. It started, Schlafly started the whole thing many years ago, but more and more have come on. I think we're at 28 within 70 miles of the arsenal. Oh, absolutely. I think Corey's done a great job with side projects over here, and I think it's great they can work together and do this, be able to put out his own line, and his beers are off the chart.
As if one Killery brewery wasn't enough, another has sprung up within their walls. Founded by Perennial head brewer Corey King, Side Project has really taken the beer world by storm.
So Du Fermier. So Saison Du Fermier was one of my first beers I released on the very opening of Side Project. I did Saison Du Fermier. It's a barrel fermented Saison. I did another beer called The Origin, and I did another beer called Brett Project No. 1. I love Brettanomyces. I also love sour beer. I love oak, obviously, but Du Fermier means just Saison from the farmhouse. I had never had a barrel fermented Saison because they're hard to get. They're limited, they're rare, and I just decided I was gonna make one that I would like. And Du Fermier was the result of that. It's a 4 malt beer. It's got spelt in it, an old world grain spelt, and nothing too special, but unique, I think, for a lot of people's Saisons. It was fermented directly in Chardonnay barrels. It never touched stainless. It went straight from the brew house right to barrel. It had my house Saccharomyces strain, and then a cocktail I kind of developed that had Brett and lacto in it. It was a cool beer. It really turned out well. People really seem to enjoy it. Right now on Beer Advocate, it's the #1 rated Saison, which is weird. It has grown now to the point of where my batch size is now about 8 barrels, beer barrels, which is 4 oak barrels, because everything touches oak. So usually about 4 oak barrels. I'll divide that up, mostly usually bottles, and then now I'm starting to do a little draft for my eventual tasting room in here at Perennial too, to have on draft. 8 barrels / 4 oak barrels is giving me about 100 cases, and that's a lot of bottling for one person to do. And
We ended the day with some session ales at Civil Life Brewing. It's a great space to relax with friends.
Let's see if Ron can make this ring shot. Oh, that's some bullshit right there.
So, Rob, what do you think of the release? When we decided we were going to St. Louis, I had no expectations of what St. Louis was going to be like.
Of course, I knew they had a giant brewery there, and I knew they had Perennial, but I didn't know a lot else about the rest of the scene, and I was really pleasantly surprised. I thought it was a real fun city.
Yeah, great call bringing Eric, by the way. Having somebody who's been sort of on the scene before and really knew where to go.
Well, you know, we got to start by saying the people at Perennial were super nice to us. The Wymores and Corey and Rachel, they all took really good care of us. They were super helpful, and they're all very, very friendly.
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely eschewing the large Dark Lord, Darkness, 5,000 person events. I mean, there was maybe a line about a block long when it started, and I think that's because people had an idea of something special that was going to be released. But, it was just kind of a day at the brewery where they just, they had Abraxas on tap, barrel-aged Abraxas on tap. And then, people just hung out and enjoyed the rest of their beers after it ran out.
Yeah, exactly. And, to your point, they added that sort of adventure atmosphere by having some releases of Side Project, where Corey released the Saison Fumé bottles to people. And so not only, God forbid, I'm only going to get a Abraxas barrel aged today in bottle, I'm also going to get one of these rare and fantastic sour Side Project beers.
Well, with that, till next time, keep on drinking.
The hardest part of this release is winning the chance to buy a bottle. Over 10,000 people signed up for a chance to buy one of the bottles they were selling. There's no ticket required to attend, but show up early if you want to get some on draft. The longest line of the day was actually for the Saison du Fermier Side Project release. Plan on coming multiple days for this release, as it really does stretch over several nights. While you're in town for the release, hit up some of the great breweries that have popped up around St. Louis. And for you out-of-towners, the Riverside Casino is actually a pretty nice hotel and is very close to Perennial.
Step forward those who would serve, for an army will be raised.